Okay, so we are back with another episode of One Step Beyond. This one I have been trying to film for a while, but I kept getting files that didn't have audio that I could use for this because it only worked in my headphones. So I finally found a file that has audio that we can play. It's called Epilogue.
The amazing drama you're about to see is a matter of human record. You may believe it or not, but the real people who lived this story, they believe it. They know. They took that one step beyond. She was standing right here! I saw her! It was no hallucination! Hallucination. According to Webster, noun, illusion, apparent perception of an external object, not actually present. That's what the dictionary says. But inside that room, that well-ordered definition just won't do.
Sometimes, repeating over and over again what we think we have seen.
You want to hear it again? You just tell me you want to hear it again. You want to hear it 1,000 times. I'll tell it to you 1,000 times. But when do we stop?
When that which cannot be is removed from that which was.
Okay, doctor. Same story. 6 weeks ago, I was released from a sanitarium for chronic alcoholism. I went to Nevada to find my wife. She was getting a divorce.
Sucks. But he must have been a pretty bad alcoholic if she's going to leave him while he's in rehab.
Hi, Dad.
Wow. It's been a while, son. You know something, son? I missed you.
Me too. But Ma said it'd be better if we didn't bother you.
Well, she's right. She's right. There's no place to go visiting people. How is she?
She's okay.
Hey, what's the matter, huh?
Nothing.
Oh. Well, I'm not drunk, if that's what you're wondering.
Dad.
That was it, wasn't it? She told you to find out if I was. Well, that's nothing for you to be ashamed of. She's absolutely right. She shouldn't see me unless she makes sure. You're never going to have to worry about that again, Steve. You believe me?
Sure I do.
Thanks, Steve. Now let's go see if we can convince your mother.
My mom never tried to
I hope
stop
she
drinking,
believes you.
so we never had to
I hope
check
so,
up
too.
on her. We always knew she was. At least as long as I knew her. But it's sad when the child has to tiptoe around to find out whether the parent has trashed that day.
Put this out in the station wagon, will you, Steve?
You still going? Mm-hmm. Dad too?
Well, you run along, huh?
Steve. See you later.
By the time I was a teenager, we just stopped asking Mom if we could have a day off of school if we wanted. She would write pre-written notes and we would just put the date on them so that we didn't have to bother with waking her up because it was likely she was not going to be happy if we woke her up because she was going to be too drunk from the night before. That's part why they pulled little Ronnie out of school. It's so she wouldn't have to get up in the morning anymore. They wouldn't have to answer any more questions. This episode hits a little close.
How'd you like the flowers?
They're lovely. It's a much bigger bouquet than last time.
I see you didn't care much for the note either. I meant every word of it.
You always do. You were always sweet and thoughtful, Carl.
Except when I was drunk, looking for somebody to punch.
I just can't help it anymore. I used to be able to forget, but now I can't. Why did you come all the way out here? The answer is no.
No?
No, Carl, absolutely no. See, all the other times you were away, I used to be able to think of you the way you were when we first got married. The good times. But this last time, all I could see was you drunk and shouting and fighting. And those two policemen, the way they looked at me. Carl, I've just forgiven and forgotten so many times that it's just all gone out of me. The forgiving and the forgetting. I can't, that's all, no.
Helen, I don't want you to forget.
Carl, what you're doing is not fair to any of us. You're upsetting Stevie and...
Listen to me, Helen. I want you to remember. We've both got to remember just how terrible it was. Because that's what's going to keep it from happening again.
I can't go through this again.
No, her
Carl.
leaving.
I just can't.
Sorry. Her leaving is what's going to keep it from happening again. No matter how many times an addict or an abuser tells you it's not going to happen again, it's going to happen again. There is very little chance that they are going to change.
Why did you have to come out here? Why couldn't you just leave us alone?
Because he's a narcissist.
You remember where they put me the last time? It was pretty awful. I was never so scared my whole life. Not even when I was a little kid. I hated you for letting them put me there.
Well, what was I supposed to have done?
I hated you at first. But I'm grateful now. Gave me a lot of time to think. And when I got out, I realized that I'd never take another drink as long as I lived.
But how do you know?
Because now I know what made me drink. It was fear.
Fear? Of what? You had a wonderful job. We had Stevie. You
Have
knew
to-
how much I loved you.
I have to cut him off again. Knowing why you drink does not necessarily mean you're over it and you're going to be able to stop. Saying, I understand why I was doing that now, I understand why I have these problems now, is not an actual cure to the problem. It's just an understanding of what's happening. I understand what's happening when my PTSD gets triggered, but I still can't control myself when I really start to spiral. Understanding and being able to control it are not the same thing.
And I was afraid that I wasn't good enough for you. That doesn't make much sense, I guess. How can I make you understand? Well, I drank to forget the fear. And when I was drinking, I really wasn't good enough for you. So the fear got worse. I drank some more. And I lost my job. I hated myself for that. And I drank some more. Hated myself some more. was afraid. But I'm not afraid anymore.
Sorry, I got a vision of the kid from Donnie Darko yelling, "I'm not afraid anymore."
What do you say?
You were always such a good salesman. Make it sound so right.
It is right.
I hope she leaves.
I want to think about it. Not here. When I'm with you, whatever you say seems right.
I'm glad I still have that effect on you.
I promised Stevie I'd take him sightseeing this afternoon.
Can I go with you?
No, we'll be back for supper.
While you're deciding, would you wear this?
I'll never put that ring on again, Carl, unless I mean it.
If it is no, I promise I won't argue.
Thanks, Carl.
Just in case it is no, I want you to remember this. I do love you.
Which is why women stay with abusers and addicts, because they say that they love them. And maybe they do and maybe they don't, but it rarely turns out good for either side. My mom insisted she stayed with her dad because she loved him.
What's the matter, Steve?
Nothing.
You don't sound like nothing's the matter.
It's not your fault, Mom.
What
My
is
whole life I knew it wasn't going to end
That I
unless
don't
one of them
enjoy
died.
it as much as I did with, no, I don't know.
When what?
When I was a little kid, I guess.
Now, that's not what you meant, is it? You mean that nothing's as much fun without your father? Isn't that what you're trying to tell me? Maybe I feel the same way.
Maybe.
Maybe.
When are you going to decide?
I don't know.
Why not?
Because it isn't that easy.
It is to me. You want to, don't you?
Oh, yes, I want to. But, I thought we came out here to look at a silver mine. Wasn't that the general idea? Come on.
This isn't really the
Wait a
kind
minute,
of
you
thing
don't
the
need your
child
flashlight.
should be in the discussion of. The child doesn't understand. Even if the parent hurts the child, they're still going to love the parent because they're genetically imposed to love their parent. The mother, as the adult, needs to be responsible to keep the child safe, regardless of whether he loves his father. Although she's taking him into a mine, so maybe he's not safe with her.
Yeah, you better carry this, son. Stevie? Stevie?
I'm over here, Mom!
You scared me half to death.
I'm sorry. Look down there. I wonder how deep it is.
Got a piece of paper?
Piece of paper's no good. Use a rock. There's water down there. I guess that's why they abandoned the mine.
I don't know.
Dad would.
Will you give a lady a little time?
Haven't you had enough time?
Yes, Stevie, I guess I have.
Then let's go back and tell him.
No, not right now. Run on.
I can't believe she's choosing to stay with him. I mean, I can. That's how it usually goes, but It sucks. Oh shit. The kid die?
Helen? Helen! Oh, hell. What happened?
He's trapped.
Where's Steve?
He's trapped.
Where?
He's trapped.
Where?
He's trapped in the barn. Hurry!
Did she go to him first without going to the police or anything? Like, my kid's drunk. My kid is stuck in a mine. I'm gonna go get the alcoholic parent instead of the police or authorities that have ropes and cranes and shit.
Where?
Hurry!
Try and get some help, Helen. Please try to get some help.
Maybe she's just not thinking clearly, but what, she went off to actually get help?
Steve,
Where'd she go?
Steve, boy, he's in there, boy. Steve.
Yeah, okay, there's more people coming.
Lady? Lady! Where are you? Steve. Right here! Where's the trouble? Where's the trouble? Right here, my boy's in there. My boy's someplace he's in here.
Kid's not even making any noise to let him know where he's at. Are they sure he's alive?
Watch it. Watch it. Take it easy. Watch it. I see him. I see him. Can they get through? Yeah, we'll try. Stevie. Stevie alive. Stevie. Stevie. Watch it. Go get him up. I'll make him. Watch it. Let him through. Help him. Hey, Gracie. What are you? Get through. Don't you see? See. Smith!
Oh, was the mom that went to get him a ghost? That's some reaction. Oh, we're going again.
Well, that's it. That's it. Not quite. Your wife died instantly when that mine collapsed, Mr. Archer. That's a medical fact. Go ahead and state the other medical fact. Tell me I'm out of my mind. There's nothing wrong with your mind. But there are certain facts you have to face. For instance, do you have any idea how your wife got from the mine to the motel? Her station wagon never left that mine. You know that, don't you? It was an extremely hot day. You were fatigued from the long drive, and you were under considerable emotional stress. Now, isn't that true? Isn't that true? Yes, yes. Your wife was gone longer than you thought she would be. You were worried that perhaps she would never come back. So you invented reasons why she was gone. I saw her! She was standing right here! All right, come on.
Okay, so if it wasn't a ghost or an astral projection of her last spirit, how did he know exactly where to find the boy? And also, those two guys that came in, they were yelling, "Lady, where are you at?" How did they know? Who were they following? Has this psychiatrist questioned the other witnesses that apparently also saw a dead woman telling them to come into the mine? Because this man's an alcoholic, but the other two, we don't know what their mental state was. And they clearly were following somebody.
You saw what you wished to see. You have to believe that. The mirage is quite real to the man who's dying of thirst, you know. I didn't wish for that mine to cave in. How could I have known about that? Well, out of the thousands of wild hunches that people get for one reason or another, some are bound to be accurate.
This man has some big ears.
Mr. Archer, as a doctor, I also have certain facts to face. Among them, that I'm dealing with a man who has a record of chronic alcoholism. I knew you'd get around to that. Yes, if that will help you to understand. Now, you were recently released from an alcoholic sanitarium. I told you that. One of the most common symptoms of the seriously ill victim of alcoholism is hallucinations. I'll be honest, Mr. Archer. In the past, haven't you had hallucinations? Yes, but this is different. Look, Archer, it would be the simplest thing in the world for me to let you hang on to this fantasy of yours. Some people might even say it was good medicine, and maybe it would be for a while. But in the end, if you really came to believe it, if it became, as it could, one of the most important things in your life, you'd end up a very sick man. And later on, if you had to give it up, if your very sanity depended on it, well, just believe me when I say it's a lot easier to give it up now. You've got a son, Mr. Archer.
Okay, but what is so dangerous about believing that his dead wife is the reason his son is alive? I mean, I guess he's becoming obsessed, but I don't know what there would be to obsess about aside from being thankful that his son was saved. I'm very confused at where the psychiatrist is going at with the danger in this belief. Because it's not like he's planning to hunt down ghosts. He's not going to become, what was the dad's name in Casper? Traveling all across the country with his kid trying to find the spirit of his dead wife that has unfinished business. No, obviously, if she saved the boy, her business is finished. So I'm not understanding this. This could be comforting to somebody to think that somebody who they loved who died somehow saved somebody else who they loved in the same moment. Like, I don't see how that would not be comforting. So maybe this is just how they thought in the 50s, but it feels a little bit backwards to me.
been waiting outside there for a couple of hours, waiting for his father. Because now that's all he's got to hold on to for all the years ahead when he needs somebody strong. And you're gonna fail him if you're a neurotic who has to hang on to a mirage for a crutch. I'm sorry I had to say it that way. Oh, don't be. Is that all right if we go home right away now? Yeah, of course. Look, it's not going to be easy for you. When you have a bad night, I want you to take one of these. I thought you didn't like crutches.
Should he really be alone with his kid, though?
They're all right if they wear off.
He has a known history of being an abusive alcoholic. And his wife just died, so he's in an emotional state.
Well,
I'm not saying he should lose his kid right away, but how safe is it for him to be alone with him right now?
I don't have all the answers, not by a long shot. I hope I've helped a little. I guess so. Much to love you.
I guess that's not something they're worried about. They're more worried about whether he still believes in ghosts. The important shit.
How you feeling? On my way to work now.
Oh, there's one of them.
By and say howdy and see how you were getting along.
Hello, how are you?
And then he's also a ghost. Woo!
Didn't get a chance to thank you last night.
And so's the psychiatrist.
Oh, Stevie, mine. I don't even know your name.
Sam Harrison. Jim and I both are very glad to be a go.
I can't tell you how grateful I am. How the two of you ever happened to be there when I needed you at the mine, I'll never know.
Mr. Archer, when we heard those screams, we couldn't get there fast enough.
What screams?
Well, Jim says now that it must have been the wind hitting the telephone wires. That's all it could have been.
What did you think it was?
Guess I'll go along with Jim.
What did you think it was? What did you really think it was?
It wasn't the wind. It was a woman screaming for help. Well, guess I better be getting along now. Jim's waiting on the truck. That's a fine boy you've got, Mr. Archie. Good luck to you. God bless the both of you.
But yeah, when they came in the cave, they were looking for a woman. They heard her. I thought they had seen her too, but apparently they only heard her.
I don't think I'll need these.
Bro, take the Xanax. I guess it is better if he can do it cold, if he's able to.
Wind in the wires? Illusion? Hallucination? Certainly you have your own very personal explanation or rejection. But is it possible that love knows no boundaries? Not even death? That sometimes a loving hand, beyond life itself, can reach out to shield the living? Is it possible? In a moment, something about next week.
Okay, so I do believe in ghosts, and I believe that I've actually encountered a ghost in my life, but I have many, many more questions about the choices that were made in this episode that have nothing to do with ghosts at all. I'm questioning why this hospital has just allowed this man to take his child home knowing that he is an abusive alcoholic who is still drying out and is possibly hallucinating. Do they have no other options? Is there no grandparents that can help out for a little bit? I'm worried for the child, is what I'm saying. I'm not so worried about the ghostly situation as I am for the human who is now alone with this child when the mother was the one that was protecting him.